All right, we're going to go in with that disclaimer, and then we're going to come back in with our tea in the streets.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
All right, we're going to start with our Tea in the Streets segment. As you guys know, Tea in the Streets is the time where we kind of talk about some drama that's going on in pop culture. Sometimes it's a little more serious, sometimes it's a little more light. Last week we talked about Bishop T.D. Jakes allegedly, I know Ms. Carter loves that word,
Yes,
allegedly was going to P. Diddy parties, and we've been talking about the P. Diddy thing. It's all kind of convoluted. It goes into the next thing. So P. Diddy's having all these parties. The stuff came out with Cassie and the whole lawsuit there. And T.D. Jakes was attending these parties.
We know for a fact allegedly was seen at a white Diddy party.
Yes.
That's not a legend. Yeah.
Well, it is. I wasn't there.
Yeah,
it's a legend.
I
wasn't there. It was a legend.
And him being a bishop too. And he's married. Apparently, he was allegedly having relations with men. So we talked about that last week. This week we're going to talk about Tyler Perry. So we have this theme of people in power kind of taking advantage of the people around them, whether it's homosexual or not. I don't really think that matters. I think the fact that these higher power people are taking advantage of people that work for them, or that are
people that work for them, and also people that are seeking to, they admire them. They come into these, and we'll talk about that once we play it. And then because I do have something to say.
Yes, I'm gonna play a quick video for you guys that gives a little more context on this.
And we definitely want you guys to hit the comments up. The conversation got real deep last week, so let's see how it's going to go today.
All right.
Tyler Perry has reacted to the accusations that Christian Keys has made. On December 16th, Christian made some very serious allegations where he said he was assaulted by a male entertainment figure. He said this figure is someone who he considered to be a brother and a mentor. These comments from Christian has caused a huge amount of controversy. A huge part of this controversy is that a lot of fans are accusing Tyler Perry of being the man that Christian is accusing of. This is because Christian has been on record calling Tyler a mentor, and he said that his was someone who he considered to be a mentor. Despite Christian not naming anyone, Tyler has gotten a lot of backlash from Christian's fans.
So my brother hit me. He was a little concerned about safety when dealing with powerful people. The good news is several family members and my attorney have the proof, the description, the breakdown, the audio, the names of the people, all of that. So if anything happens, then anything happens to me, then that information will come out.
Right. So we just watched a video that I pulled from TikTok, basically where Christian Keys, I believe is his last name, who is featured in a lot of Tyler Perry movies, he made a video saying that a mentor of his, someone that he works closely with, was kind of taking advantage of him, asking for intimate favors and things like that. And he did not say that it was Tyler Perry, but it's been alluded to Tyler Perry. And the reason this kind of ties in with T.D. Jakes is apparently there's a whole drama between T.D. Jakes and Tyler Perry too. I saw a video last week and it was kind of long. That's the only reason I didn't use that one. Monique was kind of tying in.
I got context on that. And then the reason I'm bringing it up is not to slam any of them, but really to talk about, I have a talented daughter. She sings, and I have a niece that sings. And all I could think about is if they were caught up in this web of people taking advantage of them, just wanting to follow their dreams and their desires, and someone of power that they think can help them along the way takes advantage of it and pretty much destroys their lives or put them through something. And so as I seen, when you're walking and you're trusting the man of God, you think of, okay, when I can go and I can talk to him and I'm in a safe place. And then for it to be alluded to, and that's kind of, I think, what also hurts so many people on this Christian journey, that there are great men of God out there really doing the work and doing it right. But then we have these few that are mega, that are really distorting the work of God, and then you have billionaires that are even people that are not billionaires, that are people of power, that are taking advantage of their employees. You've been blessed not to misuse or mistreat people, because you will be held accountable. So I kind of wanted to, and thank you, Abigail, for bringing that on in here and kind of giving us an opportunity to have a conversation, because one, you do deserve more. It ties into what we're talking about, but recognizing when something's not right, when someone's mistreating you. Tiara, can you jump in on that? I see your face.
My wheels are still kind of turning, just because I think we need a lot more information to even throw, because he didn't say any of these names. We're, as the public, are making assumptions about who he's talking about. But I think that the issue is still relevant and needs to be talked about. I just think that this is something that it's been happening forever.
Yes.
And I think that the way that we measure who we admire,
there you go.
That's something that for each of us personally, we have to kind of dissect and see, what is it that I'm looking at in a person to determine whether or not this person is safe. Am I saying this person is safe because they're successful in the world and they've made money and people know of them for doing good works? Or have I been around this person and allowed the Holy Spirit's discernment to say, this is a safe space because this person has integrity, or, X, Y, and Z. And I myself, and I'm sure other people, have been in situations where people seem like they're safe at first because they have, they're kind, or, they do things for other people, or they serve in the community. And I just think it's really unfortunate that we have people who are the wolves in sheep's clothing. But that's the thing. That's where the discernment comes in, because they're wolves in sheep's clothing because they seem innocent and safe at first. And I just really hate that. Not even in just the entertainment space. This is something that happens in churches regularly. This is something that happens in politics and in nonprofit. I mean, everywhere. There's no place that's off limits for this kind of behavior and abuse of power. So I just hope that the people who are affected by it are not damaged to the point where they are never able to trust other people. But I do hope, and what I hope we all get from this is to stop putting people on pedestals.
And I'm so glad you said that, because that's the big crust of it all, is that we tend to want to put man on a pedestal. We see the greatness in him, but a man, as Brother Carter always says, we have to take our eye off of the man and put our eye on God.
By man-made standards also.
Yes. There you go. All right, Jennifer, what do you have to say on this?
This is news to me. I was going to say, he didn't mention, but I hope not, because I love him sometimes. I really do like that, right?
Yes.
But I'm just going to be devil's advocate, for lack of a better term. Yes. If this person, Christian, I guess his name is, if he felt he was in a safe space, and he's been in this space for a while, right? He's known Tyler.
We don't know if it's Tyler, because he
person.
just said a billionaire. And so what happened is that everyone went out there, and that's why we're going to say allegedly. Everyone went out there and tagging Tyler's name to it. So we don't know. So we're just going to say allegedly.
And again, I only know what you just played.
Right.
I hadn't heard the story. Right. But can we just give the benefit of the doubt that this billionaire was also in a safe space and felt close to him, and he just almost shoot my shot? I don't know what the whole thing is. I don't know what. I don't know what the accusation.
I've heard
that's a good. That's a good.
Maybe he thought they were close, and maybe we can.
Yes,
take this to the next level.
I like that. That's a good spin on that. That's a good, not a spin, a good flip side of it,
right?
Yes,
I've heard that,
and I think when you're like a billionaire, it could get lonely. I'm just putting. I don't.
Can you imagine?
And you also have to be careful for people just trying to come up.
Right. Know. So if and just my understanding is they've known each other for quite a while, right?
Yes.
So is this something that's been going on the whole time? Did this just happen? I mean,
there's
a lot of unknowns.
And the question I would have, because you're bringing a different perspective in there, is at what point are you going to say my safety, my integrity, how you treat me is more important than just winning on this?
That part right there.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have a choice.
Yes.
I mean, unless it's a prison takeover type of thing that take place, you know.
Did this just come about, or is this something that's been going on for years?
Well,
and why are you just bringing it up now?
I think for a lot of, because this is not the only story, and I think that we're going to see even more of these stories.
I agree.
Yeah, there's more and more going to come out.
But I think it's kind of this thing of like, this is something that's known to happen, and people want to stay in the industry and they want to continue to work. So they just kind of like take it,
yes,
because I want to make sure that I'm continuing to get jobs and I'm not making too much noise. And then I guess at some point, it's just like, okay, I can't take anymore, or something has happened to where it kind of break some. Yes. And now I feel like I need to talk about it.
I think this is good to have conversation, because it always goes back to, you deserve more. I mean, it goes right back to it. How much are you willing to sacrifice yourself? And some people are in situations and they can't get out. That's a different type of setting. However, if you're in it for the money or for the fame, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You self-sabotage right there.
Yourself.
You know?
I see you, Abigail.
I just wanted to add to that too, because I do think that's a good perspective to have, right? Like, what if as the person in higher power, like, what if you just want, connection, whether it be romantic or just a little more on the intimate side. But there's also a reason why, like, bosses can't date their subordinates, because there's that position of power and hierarchy, where it's like, even if the boss isn't like saying, oh, if you don't do XYZ for me, you're gonna get fired, that can be kind of underlying, or just a fear from the person that
if I don't give in,
it's built into the code of ethics for that reason.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I think while it can be from maybe an quote unquote innocent place of like, I'm interested in this person, then it just gets
still
sticky.
Crossing the line,
it's
because that's your employee.
Exactly.
But then in entertainment, when are they not your employee, right? So if let's just say we're working on a movie, contract. I'm your employer. The movie's over, I'm still your.
Well, here's some. It's about the position of power.
Right.
Who has the power?
So when you get so high, though, like, who's around you that you can.
That's a good point. So like the president of the United States, even when he's not the president of the United States, he still has a certain position of power.
Right.
So it's kind of like,
okay,
you don't just approach this person.
You still have
there's still power. Like a different power dynamic there. So that's
I think that goes back to like, it might be lonely being like, so having such a like high status.
Who's fair game at that point?
But also,
for the
there's other people that are in positions of power too. And it's kind of like one of those things where, and I don't necessarily think that you have to do this, but it's like, you don't date, or what is it called? Like, you don't pee where you eat. This is like the community that you're servicing or that serves you or whatever. It's kind of like, you have other people at that level that you can date
outside of the people.
You have people at your level. So that's what's in your pool.
Stay out of this pool.
And you got enough power and money that you don't really have to go through all of that mess.
Yeah.
You can go just about anywhere, and somebody would do anything you want to do.
Yeah. And you can get a matchmaker.
You can get a matchmaker. You don't have to go
you don't
take advantage of your.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
There's just certain boundaries.
Come on, Anna. I know you want some of this before we turn this off.
I like this Tyler Perry reference, because I was actually watching a show where they reference this, and they're making fun of this, that anybody who's coming into contact of the Tyler Perry industry or company or whatever is like, they're almost joining a cult. Practically, that's what the show is joking about. And I'm like, if you're still joking about it, there's some truth to it. There's some truth to it. So I also feel like this industry has been saturated with this type of lewd behavior, and it's been very gross. It's been I think out of control, and these allegations that just keep coming up and coming up. Like, it's so many people in this industry. Like, at what point is it going to be enough? At what point are like the people who are trying to become stars, right? Are they going to say no more? Enough. I don't need to be dealing with this person. I can find somebody else.
Right.
And the problem is that there's so many who are willing to.
Right.
Someone, I think Kimberly what is it? Kimberly,
Yes.
she just said it's almost. What did she just?
I was
say?
going to read some comments off. Kimberly Lawson on YouTube says, let's not dismiss people experiencing abuse. Is real and definitely not a choice. It's easy to say, why didn't someone just leave? But we all know it's not always that easy, even for regular people.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then she,
if your livelihood depends on, your income for these movies and you're consistently in Tyler Perry movies or whatever type of movie, right? You're obviously going to do what you need to do to keep in good standing.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm
going
to tell you, I'm not. Now, the reason I'm not, and it's just me. Now, I do believe that when you're in a abusive situation, it's a mindset, it's a mental thing, and that's not something that you can just turn on and off. I do agree with that, but I'm not staying in something just to pay a bill, even with a company.
Yeah.
If this company and their ethics does not align with me and mine and my belief, even if it's going to put my household, and God knows, I picked up the phone many times and said to Brother Carter in my younger year, getting ready to walk out the door, like again, yeah, I'm supposed to go. So because staying for the dollar is never a good reason.
And you're making it harder for other people too, because someone needs to stand up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the ideal is my position would be to address it immediately. And if you allow it to go on once, twice, 3 times, then that's going to become a norm.
Right.
Okay.
And so you have to address it early.
That's kind of how abuse happens, though. I mean, I remember one of my psychology professors, she said at the beginning of class, and I actually said at the beginning of mine, don't assume that if you were in a situation that you would do it differently, because there's certain things in like human behavior and human thinking, like someone might be in a desperate situation, and I know what it feels like to be comfortable and have something to walk away to. Or I might have grown up in a household that instilled a certain level of confidence, like you don't deal with this, but everybody didn't. I mean, just like the topic, you deserve more. Everybody hasn't been raised or has an understanding of, I don't have to deal with this.
100%.
So that's the reason why people stay. And it's very easy to assume, oh no, on the outside looking in, I wouldn't put up with that. But you just don't know until you're in the situation.
Right. And that's the one side. That's the one thing that I think we have to show empathy to, because everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
And we just hope for those that are able to stand up with confidence that they speak up, because for that person that can't, because all I can imagine is that young person coming with so much excitement, 17, 18, even younger, with so much excitement about a career and being taken advantage of.
And at the end of the day, don't get caught up in a lifestyle.
Ooh,
you can get caught up in a lifestyle and just about take anything that people dish out to you. So I don't have nothing that I can't lose.
Come on, Brother Carter. But Valerie.
Yeah.
But me, right, baby? Okay, thank you.
I'm not so self-centered, self-caught up in having things.
There you go.
And so, and if you caught up in having things, you'll get caught up in being in these dysfunctional type of relationships or situations, like Abigail just said.
And they seek out vulnerable people that are attached.
Right.
They know that they're easier to manipulate.
So that's my thing. Don't get caught up on a certain lifestyle. If you have something, be willing to let it go. Don't do any and everything just to gravitate and hold on to something that you have, because at the end of the day, it's just material things,
Compromising their integrity.
Right.
Wow, this was a good conversation.
I actually have a comment real quick that I want to read that just came in, and then we'll move on. From Jessica Choice on YouTube says, some people are very vulnerable and don't have their personal standards set yet. And the same way I, as a believer, can discern things, people of power can also spot out vulnerability.
100%. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Like,
come on, Bessie. Come on.
That's what I call those people. People say that these are powerful beings, but they are slitherers, is what I call them.
Come on now. What are we call it? Sheep and wolves.
Sheep and wolves.
No one deserves it. No one deserves it.
They come just like that slitherer did to Eve in the garden. They still slithering today. They seek out the vulnerable, the weak, and then they come and slither their way in. They get to know your mindset, and then all of a sudden, you caught up in something and don't even know you caught up in it.
No one deserves abuse, but you have to figure out it has to be you who decides what you deserve, right?
Yes, 100%.
So, because we all have those thoughts at some point in our life where, well, maybe I deserve that. Like maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I wasn't. I think
that's
you know?
before we really know who we are, right. You know, and we have lost who we are.
Yeah. I think the reason why we call it sheep and wolves too is because one is vulnerable to the other. So like, I'll even say, like, I've been in an abusive situation before. Like, sometimes you don't even know you're vulnerable until you're under attack or until you're already, being preyed upon.
Yes.
So I think that's kind of like the dynamic, just knowing that if you're an innocent person in the sense of like you genuinely want to believe that people are who they present themselves to be, they are who they say they are, then there's always going to be someone like the slithering serpent that's like looking for an opportunity to take advantage.
Yes.
They know exactly what to say. They know the right things to say to make you feel like you can trust them.
Yes.
And it's just unfortunate that, you know, even as believers, the Bible says to be as shrewd as a serpent and as gentle as a dove. You still have to use wisdom and discernment when you're dealing with people because of the fact that there are people that are looking to take advantage. And unfortunately, sometimes you don't realize that until you're in a situation where you thought you were safe and you're not.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I've seen a story about the lady with a pet snake. And she told the doctor that the snake won't eat anymore. He hadn't eaten in weeks. And he just lay there in the bed. Y'all know the story?
Yeah.
Tell the story, because I'm gonna mess it up. I already know.
I don't have like, I'm not gonna cite my sources or anything, but I have heard this story where like, so the snake basically tried to eat her. Well, he was like, I guess snakes they'll like try to like strangle you, like, you know what I mean, wrap themselves around you. So like she was like, oh,
but this particular snake was just sizing her up. He slept next to her every night, but he stopped eating.
He was like cuddling with
right
her.
Yeah, but he was sizing her up.
Wow.
And the doctor said, yeah, he's gonna eat you.
Oh wow.
I think I may have.
So be careful with those pet snakes now.